Home Life. It's Home Plus Life Podcast.
So welcome back.
We're back.
Part 2.
Back again.
Sure.
Eminem. Grew up with Eminem. He's in trouble at the moment with all the Gen Zs. It's kind of funny.
Why are they trying to cancel?
They are.
Right.
They are. He literally wrote a song dissing their favourite rapper, and
Who was their favourite rapper?
I have no idea. Never heard of them.
Do you remember the name?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was funny because the Gen Z posted a poll and was like, who's the best rapper? And it was Eminem or this other person, and Eminem got 99.7% of the votes. It was hilarious.
Right.
Yeah. It's one of those.
From Gen Z, though. So you're kind of asking the wrong generation. If it was millennials, hands down. But not only that, who's stupid enough to actually take on Eminem?
Hey, hang on. That's it. Everybody voted Eminem. Literally
Right,
everybody.
okay. So this other person...
Yeah. It's just another Gen Z screaming into the clouds. Yep. I saw a really,
I suppose...
I saw a really interesting video today.
I suppose it's very, a bit like Granny... What is it? Henny Penny. When it's the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the earth is lifting, the earth is lifting.
I saw this awesome video, and it was this older millennial, and with the big beard and everything. It was great, and that. So he's my age. I'm the oldest millennial, so I'd say he's my age. And he's sitting there. And
is he the Scottish or
No, just American.
Sorry
he goes. I grew up with people telling me I can't say that, I can't do that. Future generations will punish you for saying that and everything like that. My parents were like that. And now Gen Z is doing the same thing. It's like, Gen Z, if you're going to walk around telling me what I can't say and all that, I've lived through this already. My parents were boomers, and I've just got no time for boomer energy, thanks. So I'm just not going to listen to you. I know how to deal with this. I'll just stop. I'll ignore you.
I just won't talk to you.
I'll just ignore you. I just won't.
How about instead of trying to cancel people, how about we accept that people have made mistakes in the past? If they
this is a song that Eminem released last week.
No, but what I'm saying is that this is also, everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
And if someone has said something offending 12 months ago, whatever, 5, 15 years ago, holding them account for something now when you can see that they have educated themselves and have grown from that, I think that says more
about the people trying to cancel.
About the people trying to cancel, because you are holding it. It's the equivalent of parents turning around, and everyone who has a boomer parent has had this happen to them, going, remember when you were younger and how you did this? And absolutely humiliating you yet again when you were already humiliated back then. That they're just going, you know what? When you try and hold them accountable and go, you did this, it made me feel this, they respond by, well, when you were younger, I felt this when you did this. And it's like, that's not anything to do with what is actually happening right now. So, all you Gen Zs, just calm the fudge down.
The whole point of this video this guy put out is, at the end of it, he's like, Gen Z, you guys are putting out boomer energy. And for me, the penny dropped. I went, oh, my God, Gen Zs are the next generation of boomers. You can't do that. You can't say that. Everybody will judge it. Meanwhile, Gen X and millennials
so they're going to be... I was going to say they're going to be the silent generation, but that was the people before.
They were the builders.
Boomers.
Yeah, they were the builders. They were the best generation. They're the ones who build incredible stuff.
Right, so they're not going to be them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's go back to our...
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Hang on. For a moment there, I'm like, oh, wait, that's right. I'm sitting in a branded T-shirt and I'm meant to be representing my company as a CEO here.
Look what I said. Everyone, as long as you grow from this, and I'm not saying that every single person in Gen Z is a horrible, cancelling kind of person.
I'm just amused, history repeats, right? History repeats. Yeah. So
if it happens in fashion, it's going to be happening in life and generations.
It is. It's awesome. It's hilarious.
We just have to accept what is and move on and try and be the change that we want to see in the world.
Let's get on with the job.
Okay, so part 2 of this selling on online and the way forward and everything.
Digital offers, the way forward, what's coming in the future. And
we hadn't even, there was a lot of things that you were saying, and it just kept on giving me more and more questions.
Yep.
Because we've touched on, like the process previously in different episodes, but not actually done the nitty-gritty. And those past episodes that we had done were also very much, it was more educating people about that market buy even existed.
Yeah. As
opposed to the different things that are involved. And when I mean involved, I mean like how people get notifications,
and I think
how the costings work, like all of that sort of thing.
And I think with it, like we had a really good idea of how we wanted to use it, how we wanted it to impact the industry, and it was starting to do that.
Yeah.
But in the last sort of 12 months, a lot has happened.
Yeah, well,
and we've really started to see the flow-on effect of the impact of digital offers.
Yeah, because it's been 12 months in the making when it comes to, working with the REIQ for the best practices as well, to make sure, like
the best practices was released in February of this year.
Yeah.
So February of 2024. It's available online. You can download it from the REIQ
That was
website.
one of my questions. Stop
My
it.
apologies. But no, look, it is. It's part of their cyber toolkit and everything like that as well. Their best practices.
So it's public record.
It's
so
public record.
if someone,
it's available.
If you're out there and you're like, well, how do I know that this is legitimate? How do I know that it's not just something that they say?
Know how if you go, let's say you go to an agent, go, hey, I want you to use Market Buy.
Yeah.
Right, and you want to be able to know if they're operating within best practices. You can download it from the REIQ's website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
by the way, it's part of their cyber toolkit, I believe, and it's part of their overall best practices.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's not a standalone document.
It's not like you would have to pay for that information in order to get it?
Not as far as I'm aware.
All right.
I think the REIQ would love for the general public to download it and be better informed as to what best practices actually look like.
Well, look, I think when it comes to something new that you're going into, especially the buying or selling of a property, given the fact that it is one of your bigger assets in your life that you will ever come across. Some people, it is the biggest that they have. So understanding what the best way forward is, how to use it, what applies, what doesn't apply, all the rest of it, I feel that it's a good thing to
absolutely.
understand.
Absolutely.
So I have a few questions here on my trusty little notepad that I needed to get out of my head, because you were saying things in part one where I was like, oh, that's given me a question. Oh, that's given me a question, like it normally does. And then I leave them for, a few episodes down where I know that we're potentially going to talk about that same topic again, so that I can throw you under the bus in that regards, like I normally do. But because there were so many different things that I felt that needed to go over, and I needed to go and pick a child up from school, we had to stop it there. Yeah. So part two of Market Buy and buyers and sellers and the journey using it and agents and everything, is Market Buy only for big agencies? So they have to be part of Ray White or they have to be part of LJ Hooker, and it's compulsory for them to use? Or is it up to the discretion of the agent as to whether they want to use Market Buy or not?
It's absolutely up to the discretion of the agent.
Even within those agencies who have signed up?
We've got agents from every major brand, every franchise that either use us or have used us.
And independents, I'm guessing, as well.
Look, independents are where we see more independents using us than the big franchises. And the main reason for that is that the independents have far more ability to dictate terms in how they want to operate, how they want to sell, and so forth in their business. That doesn't mean that the big franchises don't allow a lot of flexibility. But when you go to a big franchise and you go, hey, we've got this product that's going to be amazing, your agent's going to earn more money, your sellers are going to get more for their property, and buyers are going to get fair and equal opportunity, like everybody wins, it's got to go through a lot more hoops.
Right.
Right. And it's bigger agencies have their benefits. You know, there's big support networks and things like that in place, but that also means that they are a lot less nimble in terms of the ability to adopt something new and adopt it rapidly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not a slight on big agencies. Like it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
There's a big support, big network around it versus being able to be nimble to adopt and move with speed. And that's it's not just real estate, that's business as a whole. Small businesses are often more nimble than big corporations.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the way of the world, and the number of moving parts. So that said, there are a lot of Remax agents. There are a lot of Ray White, First National, Elders, McGrath, like all of the names that come to mind when you think big franchises. There are a lot of agents who are using Market Buy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of independents.
Yeah.
You know,
so it really is a mix.
It's a mix. It's a mix. You know, like we've also built EXP offers for EXP. So there's EXP agents there who they have it completely under their own brand. It's EXP offers and that sort of thing. But it's essentially the Market Buy technology. We look after it, we maintain it, we manage it, we develop it with them and so forth. So there's a lot of options out there. In terms of, hey, if I want an agent who's using Market Buy, there's a lot of different agents that you could go to. And what I always love about this discussion is if you go to an agent who can show you a lot of sales on Market Buy, if you're looking for an agent, go and find one who's got the sales history and can pull out those sales activity reports. Because those sales activity reports are... They're hard and fast evidence of how that sale planned out. So you can see a direct line from the agent's marketing campaign all the way through to the result and every step in between. So if an agent did a marketing campaign, in fact, I'm doing a webinar for an EXP agent, a gentleman by the name of Nigel Peters, and he's only done a couple of sales through Market Buy and /EXP offers, but he's killed it. And so his sales activity report...
Killed it as though it's gone well.
It's gone really well. Like
not killed it as though it didn't work, not going to happen again.
No, sorry. No, he's absolutely smashed it out of the park. Hence why we're doing, webinars and trainings and that sort of thing, because he ran a really, really effective marketing campaign. And that marketing campaign now has a direct line from effective marketing campaign, 10 buyers keen on the property, 70 offers.
Yeah, right.
Right, and it blew up.
Yeah.
It blew up. So... From a seller's perspective, that sales activity report gives you a direct link from their marketing campaign to the result.
Yeah.
Because if their marketing sucks, they're not getting 10 buyers and 70 offers from one open home.
No.
Right? And
although, depending on what their network is like, let's face it, it's not exclusively just.
There might be maybe a dozen agents in the country who... could go to their network,
nurture their network,
and pull those kind of numbers.
Yeah,
right. Like, there's very few agents with that. Like, unless the property is like $400,000 under where it should be selling. Yeah, right. And that's the thing with
then
this.
You would have people come out of the woodwork, not just 10.
But
you would hope it wouldn't just be 10.
But then you wouldn't sell that publicly either, right? Like, you'd get it done off market if. Because again, it comes back to those ethics, and if you're wanting to hide stuff, you're
that's
not putting
just
on Market
given
Buy.
me a really good question.
Oh dear. But no, so we're doing that, and we're training other agents on how did Nigel adopt this? How did he run with it? How did he succeed so effectively? Because as of recording this episode, Nigel's done 2 sales, but both of them have absolutely dominated, and it's that direct link between really good agent who understands and does really, really good marketing. Link direct to results. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, Market Buy will never replace agents. But what Market Buy will do is enhance good agents, because it removes the friction for buyers and sellers for the sellers to hire the agent, but for the buyers to actually compete for the property that they want and that they're after.
So is there, I know the answer to this, but is there people who, if someone says, oh, do you use Market Buy? And they say, no, we use the equivalent.
There is no equivalent.
There is people, there is agents out there. I shouldn't say people. There is agents out there who use the Market Buy platform, but then, it's powered by Market Buy, but they have their own little name for it.
Yeah, that's just MarketBuy. Like that's just a different account on MarketBuy.
Yeah.
So it's our service,
Okay.
our system, our platform.
Yeah. So what I was
So,
getting at,
for
that's what's
example,
called white label.
White labeling. So,
yeah.
for example, at Realty Have, I think it's click to buy. EXP have EXP offers, and there's differing degrees of white labeling.
Yeah.
But it's powered by MarketBuy.
But the interface of it and the use of it and everything like that is
effectiveness,
exactly the same.
capability, functionality is the same.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So next, okay. So when we go into, so we've already done that because you've already answered it, so I can cross that off. So I'm just trying to go through and see as to, okay. This one I was talking to you about earlier. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you'll understand where I'm trying to go with this. So you know how there is some things when it comes to the actual property and listing it and marketing it and selling it and stuff like that. The service itself has different subscriptions that the agents have to pay, which then goes on to the seller as part of their and some of them are really costly. Not just for the agent, but also for the seller as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, you look at, realestate.com.au, for example.
Yeah.
Their
not
fees,
that MarketBuy is a listing tool.
We're not a listing portal at all. We're a sales negotiation
We're just
tool.
explaining something to you.
But, realestate.com.au increase their prices almost every April.
Yeah, what I found interesting, and it wasn't until you said it that I was like, wait, what? And I went and had a look. So I know that they have Premier, something else, and Standard, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
And it all comes down to where on the website they're listed, depending on how much they're paying per month per listing.
Yep.
But then there is also area of the property that the costings will also have.
What the agent pays varies area to area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so with you guys, it's just a flat rate.
Well, there's two particular methods, right? And the agent basically chooses how they want to operate.
Yeah.
There is a subscription method, which is what we call MarketBuy Unlimited. There's an office level or an individual agent level.
Yeah.
And it's a set price every single month. Like, it's stupidly affordable. It's like $100 a month for the agent or $300 a month for the office. And, it's unlimited sales in both, but for the office, it's unlimited agents as well.
Right. So it's nothing that's going to...
If the agent chooses to do a pay-as-you-go kind of model, it's $250 per sale on completion of sale.
Right.
So it's like that model there is probably the one that sellers will probably see the most of, in that an agent will go, well, it costs us to sell it on MarketBuy. We recommend doing it because of all these different reasons. The biggest and the most obvious of which is that, we can see that the first offer made, the difference between the first offer made to the final offer accepted at the moment averages about $70,000.
Right. Okay. So the $250 that it had for listing.
Like, to use a platform that...
Or not listing, sorry, to actually do the sale, you look at the long run and go...
Yeah, and
is it really that much of a...
Well, and one of the things to keep in mind, MarketBuy doesn't actually increase the price.
Yeah.
Right? What MarketBuy does is facilitates an environment where the buyers can compete for the property that they want transparently. And because the buyers feel confident in the ability to go and negotiate and go after the property that they want, as opposed to the old method, the old cloak and dagger, give us your best and final, here's the system, you get notified every time there's an offer, varying degrees of transparency, they're confident to go after it. So as a result, when you have genuine competition being allowed to actually compete for what they want, the buyers push the prices up because they want the property, so they go after it.
So the angle that I was going for with this one is obviously for sellers, because when it comes to a seller, there is a lot of costs that they look at. Yeah, that's right. So
this one's super cost effective, and look, you can see that there's a direct link to a better return.
Yeah.
Because we're talking thousands of sales and national averages, and I'm saying, you let buyers compete.
Yeah.
Right? And you encourage that competition through transparency and providing a platform where they are confident and comfortable to do that and to go after the property they want, and they compete. And that pushes prices up.
Yeah. So
particularly in a market where we don't have enough supply.
Yeah. So like I said, it was the reason why I brought that up was just so that like sellers can be like, cool, like that's something that I wasn't aware of. Not everyone is aware that there's actually quite a lot of costs that agents incur, which is part of commission, which I feel is something that we need to talk about. Not in this particular situation.
We're, on that note, we are going to see more and more of those costs passed on to the seller because, and I was involved in a discussion today where it was raised that the cost
some
of
the costs
on
are
listing portals,
stupid.
well, they're going to get to the point because the listing portals are private companies that have to look after the shareholders. And we've talked about this before, right? Always act in the best interest of the shareholders, which often means greater profit. And so they're either going to need to find new ways to make money or they're going to have to keep increasing prices. And if they keep increasing prices, it is absolutely foreseeable that they will reach a point where it actually costs more to list than what the agent's commission will be from the sale of the property.
Well, the other thing too is that
in time, I might add, that's a way to but you can see the direction it's heading.
But at the same time, they are under threat, given the fact that there's a lot more people who are becoming a lot more social media aware. So, sure, those listing things are good, but I feel there's going to be something that's actually happening in Facebook and in Meta that I think agencies are probably going to hop on.
Look, I mean, they tried to do it in the US and they talked about bringing it here, and this was October 2019, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it never showed up here. And honestly, I'm disappointed. I think it would have really challenged. But look, I think that ultimately there's no empire that lasts forever.
No. Especially if people are paying,
eventually.
And I mean these costs are like stupid. Like I can't even get the words out because I sit there and when people tell me, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Like that, like no wonder, like it's not just because people go, oh, like agents get these fat commissions. But when you have it explained to you, when an agent goes, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this.
Costs are high.
Yeah. Before I walk away with anything to put into my bank account and say, cool, that was a job well done. You look at it and you're just like, holy crap.
The average earning of a real estate agent, these numbers are a couple of years old. I don't know what the most recent ones are, but the average earnings of a real estate agent are about $57,000 a year.
Yeah, and when you think about that, that is what they deem as low income.
That's minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they put that in. So there's a salary that has to be paid that's $57,000 a year, and agents are only allowed to come off that if they can show that they can earn that or more commission only. And when they do that, like that ends up being like the average might have increased to 65 since they brought that in, but it's below what the adage that we have in the industry. We walk around, we talk about, and that gets thrown around all the time is that 5% of the agents make 90% of the money.
Yeah.
So the agents that you see that are, driving around in the AMGs and all that kind of stuff, they're leased vehicles or they're that 5% in a lot of cases. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So back to market buying after we've gone down that rabbit hole. I was going to say squirrel hole, but that's not right. So we've spoken previously about notifications, about blocking prices so that some people can see it, some people can't. So I'll go through the questions that I've got.
I want to address that comment really quickly. It's equality of transparency across the platform. There is never a case where anybody is disadvantaged, right? It's not a case of some people can see, some people can't.
So okay, stop. No. I need you to stop because that is one of my questions. Well, but I actually have a little bit.
No. I need to address your comment because but you've sat there and said some people can see, some people can't, and that's not true. It is.
When I mean some people, I mean that the buyer it won't be able to be seen by buyers, but obviously the
seller can see what's going on. The agent can see what's going on because they're the people that need to see what's going on. But the buyers have equality of transparency.
Was literally my question that I was going to ask. Is the prices blocked from sellers as well as, or is it open for agents and sellers or
Well, the agent needs to see.
Yeah,
'cause otherwise they can't do
obviously.
the job. The seller is informed. Now, the agent has the ability to choose not to add the seller to the sale. And to be honest, we advise that, the agent should discuss it with their seller,
Yeah.
and the seller make the decision as to whether or not they want to be involved, because it can be an emotional roller coaster,
yeah,
right? Like when you're selling something, particularly if you're emotionally attached to the property,
yeah,
and you see an offer come in that's $100,000 under,
yeah,
right? Or $100,000 over what you wanted.
yeah,
It's an emotional roller coaster. And if you're someone who kind of can't really cope with that, then let the agent handle it.
Well, it's not necessarily cope. Sometimes
No,
it's
some people can't. And
yeah.
sometimes in tough markets, like I did an interview with Joe Mooney and she talked about it. And she talked about how she, says, hey, and she says this to her sellers, she says, hey, do you want to come on this roller coaster ride with me? Because it's a tough market in Melbourne right now. We'll be up, we'll be down, we'll be up. We'll get there in the end, but understand it is going to be a roller coaster ride. So do you want to come on it with me, or would you rather I just do what I do and I come to you at the end of the ride and go, here's the offers we've got?
Right.
And she gives them the option, because not everybody wants to be riding shotgun
Yeah.
on a sale where they're emotionally attached to a property and the outcome changes daily.
Yeah. So it is very similar to when agents, the old way, would get the offer forms, go and talk to the seller about it and be like, these are the 3 offers that, seem
That
to...
I recommend.
I recommend,
And
that seem to be up your alley. I've had
for
a
the
few
sellers, it can
others,
go that
but
way, yeah.
they just, like they're not going to work. So
It kind of becomes a choose your own adventure for the sellers.
Yeah.
In the sense of they can be as involved as they want or not.
Yeah.
Right? As kept up in the loop as they want, or
Yeah.
they can be left until, hey, we're going to have a meeting in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to show you all the offers.
yeah,
Right. And so that's the seller's choice. And I think that's a huge theme here. It's a big thing that we've tried to do, is to create that choice of engagement
Yeah.
for sellers, to create the ability for agents to sell the way, the sales method that they like to sell with, how they like to operate, and give the buyers the choice of when they go harder or when they go, hey, you know what, it's past where I want to be.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So the other thing that I was going to say to that is that it's not like seller is only aware once it goes to a certain point that they can jump on. They can jump on whenever they want. They
They can be added to the sale whenever they want, and
Yeah.
then start receiving those notifications.
Yeah. Okay. So this brings me to my next question. Is it email or text, or is it both when it comes to notification? And is it everyone in the sale that actually gets it?
Predominantly, it's
So
email.
obviously the agent would.
Yeah,
you
agent
would
does,
want
seller
them
does.
to know.
All the buyers do.
Yeah.
All the viewers can as well.
Right,
Buyers
so
and
there's a viewer option as well.
There's a viewer option, so that you can actually watch a sale play out.
Why would someone want to view? And
Most
are
commonly,
the prices available for viewers to actually
depends on the
see?
setting of the agent,
Right,
and how
okay.
they're running the sale. But most commonly, it's potential future sellers who want to view. They want to see how the process works. They want to see how it plays out. Maybe it's a property in their area. They want to watch that play out too. And sometimes it's just sticky beak neighbours. Sometimes they'll come in and be like, I want to see it play out.
Yeah.
And it's up to the agents to whether they allow that to happen. So you've got the people who can view, you've got the people who can buy, and so forth. All of how much they see is determined by the agent, and that will often be and should be explained. Disclosed is the word I'm looking for. Should be disclosed up front.
So you said that viewers, it depends on the agent whether they're going to let someone see the prices or not. So obviously, if they go, nah, it's going to be viewers, it's not going to, the viewers can't see the prices, but the buyers can.
No,
It doesn't have that functionality where it's like,
it's
you're a viewer, you can't see anything, but you're a buyer, you can. Just in case. Okay, cool.
And the main reason for that, right?
I ask this because some people are like, I'm cool for the people who are in the sale to see the prices. I'm not okay for someone who's a sticky beak neighbour.
And that's it, right? But it's also one of the reasons, and we made the decision around this, one of the reasons we made this decision is because so often buyers will register as a viewer and they'll sit and just watch to see what's happening first. and then they'll step in. So it's why we go, the viewers can see the same amount as the buyers can, the viewers just can't act.
Yeah.
Right? They can at any time convert or request to convert their account to a buyer. So it'll send a request off to the agent, say, hey, I now want to become a buyer. And then they can enter the sale.
Right. So it's not like they have to call the agent, be like, can you add me?
No, just a quick, easy button.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, the things you learn. Okay, so that's been ticked off. I can pop that down here. So I've got here, can you choose what conditions of the sale, or is it predetermined by the seller? So does the seller go, I will only sell if it's subject to finance? Like that's going to be a condition that is automatically on there, which means that if there's anyone that's building and pests, they are cancelled out? Or is it up to the buyer to actually go, these are my conditions?
So there's a couple of different ways this plays out. And this, again, the system's flexible.
Yes.
Because every agent likes to sell a little bit differently.
Yep.
Every seller has their own needs and wants. The agent and the seller, so the agent sets and is in control of everything. But if the seller says to the agent, hey, I'm not going to entertain any offers with finance, or I'm not going to entertain building and pest, whatever. They sit down together and they work out what conditions they will allow, which ones they won't. And so when the sale gets set up, the agent can turn around and say, we will accept offers with these conditions, we won't accept offers with these conditions. Right? And so then when the buyer goes to make their offer, or when they first actually register, they go, well, these are my conditions, and they get to choose from a list that has been predetermined by the agent and the seller. Mm-hmm. So that way the sellers remain in control of the sale of their property and what works best for them. Mm-hmm. And the buyers are fully aware of exactly what conditions will float, which ones won't.
So I suppose it is like a vetting kind of system prior.
Well,
so
you
don't...
No buyer. So none of these sales are open to the public. You can't just Google them and stumble on them or anything like that.
There's privacy laws that would have to
every buyer has to be approved by the agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I mean, well, obviously before them signing up, they would already have these conditions from the seller.
They should.
To be,
and that comes back to the best practices guide with the REIQ.
Yeah, so that they would let you know before, because obviously they don't want to waste your time, you don't want to waste theirs, only to find out, well, I had no chance in getting that property. The REIQ's got some really cool disclosure forms that they've developed. They're appendixes to the Form 6, I believe it is, to support digital offer platforms or support people who want to sell through digital offer platforms. Right.
And allows the agent and the seller to sit down and actually agree on what the terms and conditions and how the sale is going to be handled digitally online and so forth as well. The RIQ, they're leading the way in the country. No one else has got this.
Well, that's pretty good, given the fact that you do have some times where, people put in an offer and, because they have to accept all offers, so to speak.
All offers have to be presented.
Yes.
All offers that are made must be presented.
Yes.
And
but if you have a seller who's already just gone, look,
I don't want a finance clause.
I don't want a finance clause, then, and you've got someone who's putting an offer in who has finance as part of their condition, is the agent currently, if they do it the old way, do they still have to present that to the seller, or can they turn around at that point and just go, look,
they don't want a finance clause.
They don't want a finance clause.
Again, it comes down to the instructions from the seller.
Right.
So if the agent has that in writing that the seller doesn't want to see offers that have a finance clause, then the agent can turn around and go, look, I've been instructed not to present offers. But it comes down to what the seller has put in writing as their instructions to the agent. And that's super important.
Yeah.
And that's best practices.
Yeah. And so obviously when they would go online, let's say they were good for the money, but, still waiting for the letter to come through to go, yep, you've been approved. Right? Oh, sorry, my foot's going dead. So technically they were still waiting on the finance. I forget what I was going to say. We'll just move along.
That works.
Sorry for the so's and the ums and my foot going to sleep. Next thing was, can you use Market Buy for off-market properties?
Technically you can. Basically the process is that a CRM, like the agent's CRM gets the property listing, and it goes in there, and then they just send it to MarketBuy. And instead of sending it to realestate.com.au or Domain or something like that, they just send it to MarketBuy. We don't advertise the property anywhere. It's an invite-only kind of thing. Like obviously the agent invites buyers through links, through QR codes at open homes and things like that. But ultimately, and it's, you know, we have multiple different bits and pieces to it to allow that. Like MarketBuy can technically sell anything. Yes, it's a real estate digital offers platform, but we built a charity capability into it as well. So we've run like the Queensland flood appeal. That the RAQ ran. We auctioned off, I think they had like 28 items. We auctioned off 17 of them on MarketBuy. We've sold water rights on MarketBuy. Someone sold their car on MarketBuy. So that gives, and the reason I mention that is purely it gives an idea of just how flexible the platform is and how capable it is. Ultimately, anything can be sold on it, and it can be sold however you want to sell it. So in regards to going off market and doing something off market, like if you've got a pool of buyers and you want to handle this invite only, you absolutely can do that and sell it without it ever seeing a portal.
Yeah, right. So next question: when it comes to privacy, is it like, I know what you're like when it comes to privacy. So, you know, I know that there's probably a lot of people out there that are going, how do I know that you're not going to go and sell my information to every, you know, Tom, Dick and Harry of a real estate agent that, you know, is out there? How do I know that me as a buyer is protected, or me as a seller is protected, that my information isn't going to be sold to third parties?
There's legislation around that. That's the biggest one. We obviously have our own privacy policy and things like that, so read through that privacy policy. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what company you're dealing with, particularly if it's an Australian-based company. But any company, right? Every single company and digital entity, digital company has their own privacy policy, first and foremost. But the laws and legislation around privacy of that country overrule anybody's privacy policy. Right? One of my favorite examples to talk about is not necessarily privacy, but terms and conditions. There was a terms and conditions case, like contract terms and conditions case, and if I remember it correctly, one of the big telcos had a clause in their mobile phone contracts that stated, you know, they could change the terms of the contract at any time without your consent. Right? Like that's the crux of it. That wasn't the exact wording. And this got challenged and got taken all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court went, no, you don't. So just because it's in the privacy policy or just because it's in the terms and conditions doesn't actually mean that it's necessarily legal under the overarching law that governs those terms and conditions, that those privacy policies, that company. So my answer to that is always the same, and it's read the privacy policy and make sure you understand privacy legislation. Like you've gone and read and understand your rights under privacy. Government's got a whole lot of amazing resources around that. To make it easy, so you're not just slogging through legislation.
So what I really want to hear you say, for those people out there going, that was a really political way of answering a question. Does MarketBuy sell their information to third parties?
No.
There you go.
Don't.
Isn't that a great answer?
What?
No.
And look, that's the clean, straightforward answer. There are certain times where we do provide that information to, well, not to third parties. We provide it to obviously agents who are using the platform, because you've registered on the platform. We've got to pass that information along to them. So in order to operate,
but the agent should already have that information, wouldn't they?
No, not necessarily. Not if they used, coming through the open home, they used the MarketBuy QR code to register the person for the open home.
Right. So but it goes to the one agent who listed that property as that information. So what I'm trying to get out of this is that it's not information that let's say there's 5 real estate agents currently using MarketBuy for one area. Let's say Brisbane City, right? And we know that there's like, let's say 80 agents. They can't come to you and go, we'll pay you $1,000 to get the buyers' names from this particular listing because
Oh, God, no.
Okay, there you go, people.
No. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Not now, not ever.
Yeah.
Wow, no.
Because you know that there's some conspiracy nuts out there that would be like, no, that's how they got their information.
Okay. Let's look into the future and let's look at, okay, the agent obviously gets that data because they need it, right? The agent who's running the sale, the listing agent, they get that data. We get that data because we're the platform.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone came to us and said, we'll pay you money for access to that data.
Yeah.
Our response would
Like
be,
Woody and Buffalo.
exactly. Our response would be, no. What we can do
Yeah.
is when the buyer registers, they can opt in for your service for you to contact us. So it's their choice as to whether or not you are going to get that information and can contact them about your services.
Okay.
So we don't actually sell that information. What we do...
It's an opt-in.
It's an opt-in. So we do this...
And it's clear. It's not like...
This isn't
This isn't like a thing down the bottom in the terms and conditions that you click and then you're like, wait, hold on.
So, for example, we had a really good conveyancing company come to us. It's by the name, Settle Easy is the name of the company. And they said, hey, we work really, really closely with this particular brand of real estate offices. And on their particular sales, we would like to make a special offer to buyers. I think it was like a contract review, a cheap contract review or something like that. Could we do this? Could we market to those buyers? And we said, look, the only way that this can happen is you need the permission. We need written permission from the agency you're working with to say that they're happy for this to happen on their sales and their sales only. And if we are to do it, what will happen is when the buyer registers, there will be a bit of text down the bottom and an opt-in that says, hey, would you like to get a cost-effective or cheap contract review from Settle Easy, right? And it'll be automatically selected as no, or it'll be blank. And they've got to turn around and say yes. And so they've got to take action to opt in. It's not an auto opt in.
Right. Yep.
So that way it's the buyer's choice because, of course, that's a service that benefits buyers quite significantly.
Yeah.
Right. But we're not going to force it on anybody.
Yeah.
We're not they've got to make the choice. Now, as it happened, nearly 1,000 people made the choice and said yes.
Yeah.
Right, that's great
Yeah.
because it's clearly helping people. But at no stage did we turn around and go, oh, yeah, here's the list or here's the people or here's everybody. No way.
Yeah.
No way. It's if we're going to offer third-party services like that, we are going to offer them, having vetted them, and it's going to be an opt-in.
Yeah.
Right? And that was a decision that was made 5 years ago because we had people coming and approaching going, hey, we want to do this special deal. And we went, it has to be beneficial to the agent. It has to be beneficial to the seller. It has to be beneficial to the buyer. And for it to happen, they have to opt in. Otherwise, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And that is something that is fundamental in market buy. So we don't, I know we've got competitors out there that you'll go and you'll make an offer and suddenly you're getting called from a finance company. Have you got your mortgage in order? Or a conveyancing company and things like that. You haven't opted in for it.
Yeah.
Right?
You're like, how the hell did you get this info?
Yeah, exactly. And I've had people ring me and complain about it. And it's, there's nothing worse than you've gone and registered to make an offer or to take an action and somebody adjacent to that suddenly calling you and they know this information and they've got your details and you're like, what the hell has just happened?
Well, not only that, it's actually, considering that it is a very overwhelming, unless you are very seasoned with this, it can be overwhelming to go through that process. And if you're using something new, which not everyone's used this type of way of buying or selling.
Oh, yeah.
It's overwhelming and it's emotional and you're going on a roller coaster and then next thing you know, you're like, wait, how'd you get that? What?
Yeah.
Because we still have conversations with people where they're like, yeah, I was walking past this shop in Brisbane City and then all of a sudden what comes up in my Facebook feed? Oh, a special offer from that particular shop that I walked past today. Like, that's just freaky.
That's like... you've got location services turned on your phone.
Yeah. But even still... we still have those conversations. Yeah. And when you point it out, people are like, yep, cool, now that makes sense. Yeah. But when you're going through something really high emotions. There's other stresses that are going on both sides.
Yep.
Like you do really start to feel like, who the hell is watching me? Like, how are you getting this so quickly?
Yeah, look, and it can be quite scary. And look, that's one of the things that I've been adamant about in Market Buy, that we, anything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of services that we have connections to that can offer significant value to sellers, agents, and buyers.
Yeah.
And can help and alleviate the process. We insist that it must be opt-in.
Yeah.
The buyer, the seller, like the whole ethos of what we do is to bring greater transparency and choice to all, all actors in the market.
Yeah.
Right? All good actors in the market, I should say. So doing something where we hide something into a privacy policy and then send that, it's
actually
not
contradicts
right. It
the
contradicts
whole
purpose of everything
of Market Buy,
and the culture of it, and like even to the point that we've got a pop-up box when you register, when you go to make your first offer that says, "Hey, it's at the agent's discretion. The agent can choose to reveal offers if they so decide, even midway through the sale." Right? Best practices are that you communicate that as the agent before you do it.
Yeah,
but we notify so that people know.
Yeah.
Hey, this can happen.
Yeah.
This is something, and it's at the discretion of the agent. So we're very, very big on disclosure.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of space that is dedicated to agents being able to disclose things about the property or the sale and the method of sale and so forth. And like it all comes back to that transparency, and it's super important. So that whole, you sign up on one website and give your email and phone number on one website, and then 4 other companies are calling you. Like,
well, I remember stupid thing. That probably just looked a bit weird. There's these bugs. They're all around. Anyway, that
the house is clean. I promise.
It is clean.
It is.
He's got chili bushes growing over there, and I think it's from them.
Yeah,
so
it is
because they don't bite. They're not midgies.
They're just little gnats.
Yeah, and they're annoying. Yeah. And now I forgot my question.
My little seedlings are now.
I remembered it now.
They're big enough they can go out to the greenhouse.
So when it comes to, because you were talking about disclosure and transparency and things like that.
Yep.
Now, the seller, because in the sale, just so that people realise, in the sale, it has buyer A, buyer B, blah, 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 right down, putting offers in. Now, buyer A could be sitting next, or not sitting next to, because that flags something in Market Buy going, something's not right here, even though they could be 2 different people.
Yep.
They could just be, Sarah and Sally watching a movie going, hey, I really like this, not realising that they're bidding against each other, putting offers in against each other.
But I mean, and that's the thing though, like we track IPs.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's say, there's 2 people that live next door, don't realise that they're actually, competing for the same property. These things can happen. Now, the seller, so let's say it's happening at number 7 and then the other one's happening at number 10. But let's say that it's like 12 Smith Street, right, that they've gone and looked at. They're living at James Street. So let's say and they all know each other, right? Small community, they all know each other. Now, it's not going to show up on the seller who's selling James Street. It's not going to show up to go, it's, let's say Bob from number 10,
seller's not gonna
Frederick
know.
from, so that it's not like
the seller will know.
It doesn't come up to go, buyer A is blah, blah, blah from...
No. So it doesn't. The seller's only going to get buyer A made another offer, buyer B made another offer, right?
It's so I take it it's not until when they go, yep, that person,
So
the sale has stopped.
Because the real estate agent sees it all, and they know because
it's registered with them.
Yeah, and they're approving the buyers to have access to the sale. So they've got to know who the buyers are, and then they know who buyer A is, buyer B, etc.
Yeah.
The seller doesn't. The seller knows buyer, that's just A, B, C, D as far as they're concerned, until such time as an offer has been chosen as the sale offer, that secured the property, and then it goes to contract. And of course, then the seller gets the contract and it's got names on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's at that point. So there's a lot of privacy protection in terms for buyer information and everything like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, real estate agents have code of ethics. They've got legislation. They've got to abide by all of that good fun stuff in order to protect that.
Yeah.
The seller doesn't need to know every individual
Whereas
buyer. The seller only needs to know the winning buyer.
Whereas an auction, like you're standing out the front of the house,
Yeah.
it's kind of obvious who's there and who's not there.
Exactly.
So, whereas when people go, it's like an auction, it isn't like an auction.
No, look, you can create auction level conditions and competition.
Yeah.
For sure. But the seller, keep in mind, the seller doesn't have to accept the highest offer.
Yeah.
They don't have to. They can choose the best offer for them. And look, in about 10% of cases, sellers actually choose a lower offer.
Yeah, right. So then that goes into what I was going to say about now I've just completely gone. What did you just say?
I think I pulled a face and shook my head at a child that was
Yeah.
trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you've forgotten what you
This
said.
is the fun of having a podcast studio in your house.
These are real life struggles.
Yeah. But I understand why, because the one who wanted my attention wants me to drive them to netball.
Right. Okay. It's that time. It is that time. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, look, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it is that privacy. People can compete for the property that they want securely.
Yeah.
And knowing that identity should be protected, are protected by the software, and should be protected by the agent as well. Definitely protected from other buyers, from the sellers. Obviously, the agent has to know because they've got to approve you into the sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. I think that will give people a lot more information because we haven't ever done an in-depth
we haven't
like
done
this.
a deep dive like this. And look, I think, in all honesty, I think this is the way of the future and the way real estate is going to be bought and sold in the future.
Yeah.
The convenience of it is massive, but also just the old system is broken.
Yeah.
It's full of roadblocks, it's full of frustration, and it really does disadvantage everybody involved.
Yeah.
And we only need to look at our experiences buying. You know, I did a presentation Monday week ago, and I put up a list of about 20 different frustrations on screen that people experience from, regardless of whether they're a buyer, seller, or an agent. And there was about 50 people in the room, and I said to them, by the way, you can print this out and play property frustration bingo and just cross off every single one as it happens in your next property transaction and then give me a call and shout bingo. And everybody laughed because we've all been through it. We've all experienced every single one of those things. And that wasn't even a comprehensive list, yet I had 20 different things on a slide that we've all collectively experienced when buying and selling property. And that is symptomatic of the old system. It is not a good system. It is broken, and it is not efficient. It is not effective, but it's just the way it's always been done.
Yeah.
And so if we can bring technology to that, we can enhance that. We can remove a lot of the roadblocks and the friction of it, and everybody wins.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, the buyer's goal is to get the property that they want.
Yeah.
Right? So they're getting the property. They're getting fair and equal opportunity to get the property they want. Sellers are securing the best price for their property, according to them, the best deal for their property, and agents are able to operate far more transparently. They're able to rebuild that trust, but they're also selling for more, which means on a commission basis, they're also earning more. Yeah. So everybody wins by moving towards digital offers and breaking away from the old way of doing it. And it's slowly
do you have one more question?
Hit me with it.
Does Market Buy take a clip of the commission?
No.
There we go.
No, we're set fee, flat rate, either subscription or the paper use.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Everyone's trying to clip agents' commissions. There's bugger all left for the agents.
Well, I don't think that's very fair anyway.
No.
It's built for agents to use.
It is.
Yeah. And on that note, we hope everyone has a fantastic evening, and you've got to go to netball.
I do. Good times.
Bye.
See ya.